Hikaru Nakamura has just gone undefeated at a tournament on his journey to qualify for the Candidates Tournament. But here's the twist. He didn't sweep a major international event, he went 7-0 in the Louisiana State Championship. Yeah. So why is one of the greatest American players in history basically smurfing? What does that have to do with his journey to the most important tournament in chess? And how do the local chess players he crushed feel about it? Okay, so let's cover some basics. Since 1950, FIDE, the international body that oversees competitive chess, has hosted a tournament called the Candidates to decide who gets the challenge for the World Championship. The exact format has changed a little over the decades, but the core idea remains the same. The best chess players in the world gather for an event, and the winner gets to challenge the current world champion for the belt. Right now, that's on a 2-year cycle. In odd-numbered years, you generally get a chance to qualify for Candidates. The next Candidates tournament will be played in 2026, and the next world champion will be crowned later in the year. As things currently stand, only 1 of 8 spots in the Candidates for 2026 has been filled. Fabiano Caruana has locked it in as the highest performing player in FIDE's 2024 tournament cycle. Now you might notice that one of these spots is a little different than the other 7. The last spot in the Candidates is determined not by tournament results, but purely by rating. And that's where Hikaru comes in, and where this whole thing gets fun.
In gaming, having an edge over your opponents is everything. And with Gigabyte's MO27U2 and MO27Q2 27-inch OLED gaming monitors, you never have to settle for anything less than uncompromising quality. 240Hz refresh rate, lifelike colors, AI-based OLED care panel burn-in protection, and advanced tactical features such as game assists, live hardware stats, and so much more. These monitors have everything you need to take your gaming experience to new heights. So if you're looking for an affordable, high-end gaming monitor that will really make a difference to your in-game performance, check out Gigabyte's MO27U2 and MO27Q2 27-inch OLED gaming monitors, available now at Amazon. Now, back to the video.
See, as we speak, Hikaru is the second highest rated player in classical chess in the world, behind only Magnus Carlsen himself. But if you follow chess for a while, you might know that Magnus, a 5-time world champion himself, is not going to compete for the World Championship again. That's a bit of a complicated story that has been widely reported elsewhere, but basically it comes down to his frustrations with the format, and he has said that he just doesn't enjoy playing World Championship classical chess anymore.
In terms of whether I'll play again, I think if they do overhaul the cycle and first of all make the game shorter, then I don't rule it out, but I don't have any plans to play though.
Which means that the top rating spot is up for grabs for Hikaru, who is trying to qualify for the Candidates. But there's a wrinkle here. You see, the spot goes to the highest rated player, who plays 40 FIDE rated games within the qualification period. So Hikaru needed to play a lot of games, and before he decided to try his hand against Louisiana's finest, he'd only played 18 of the 40. But the problem with this format is Hikaru is also kind of disincentivized to play against the world's best players, because obviously he could lose to those people, thereby losing rating and his spot. So that takes us to New Orleans, where this past weekend, Hikaru Nakamura basically smurfed on 7 mostly local players of varying skill. Now, the chess community has been pretty critical of this choice, but it's not the only time a top player has engaged in these types of shenanigans to secure the rating spot. It seems like most people aren't upset with Hikaru, they're upset with the format. And as for Hikaru's opponents themselves, they seem to be quite happy. Hikaru's own videos breaking down his game seem to be full of comments from local players that he met at the event, thanking him for supporting their scene. I think that from some players' point of view, a player of Hikaru's caliber coming out to the state championship is a huge opportunity and genuinely exciting. His first opponent in the tournament was a 1563 rated local player. There was nearly a 1300 rating gap. That's someone who probably plays chess largely for fun, stacked up against one of the best players in the world, in a real classical tournament bracket. That must have felt some kind of way. Now, that's also not to say that every opponent in this tournament rolled over either. In his penultimate game, Hikaru played against defending state champion Nick Matter, a 2250 rated player who gave him a real challenge all the way into the middle game.
Now, I think this move can be found by a top GM. In fact, I actually was wondering what I would do had he played Bishop G6, but for someone who's a little bit lower lower rated, playing bishop d3 and then going back here. It's very tough also because if you look at this position optically, black has the bishop pair, and with white's pawns like this, you feel like you should be better. So then if you go bishop g6, you're sort of admitting that white can go rook f1 and then you have to take a draw, but you also think you're better, so you get caught in no man's land.
With his win at the tournament, although he cannot be crowned state champion because, he doesn't live in Louisiana, Hikaru is now one step closer to the candidates. He got his official FIDE minimum of 0.8 rating per win, and now has 6 more official games under his belt. The first one was unrated due to the format. So, that's a win for a player I think a lot of folks will be cheering for in this World Championship cycle. But he also has 16 more games to play, so he will have to enter other events to do it.
So by the time this journey is over, Hikaru is going to be rated 2,824, 25-ish. He's going to be 14 points away from Magnus. You know what he should do? He should go for the rating spot. Can you imagine how ridiculous that would be? That would show, in a nutshell, the ridiculousness of the chess, ELO, and ranking system. It just would.
Now, Hikaru has been breaking down each of the games on his YouTube channel, and despite the fact that a lot of his wins seem very much a matter of course, there's no question that he's pretty emotionally invested.
So it was really, really nice to have that feeling like I had all those years ago. It was also really nice to see the many, many fans locally here in Louisiana who are really, really cheering for me. They definitely want me to make the candidates and qualify. So big shout out to all of them. Thank you so much for the love and support. I'm going to do my best to get there. And it goes without saying that it's just been a phenomenal event. Now, all this happiness aside, of course, you guys can probably tell I'm a little bit emotional because I'm not going to lie. I'm in the twilight of my career. I probably figure I have 1 candidate, maybe 2 more left at most. Definitely, it is very nostalgic, sort of returning to the roots of how I began playing chess.
So yes, that's a super GM, currently the second highest rated player in the world, who is only 37, talking about the end of his competitive career. So however he gets here, this might be one of Hikaru's last chances to become world chess champion in a career where he's achieved just about everything else. It's honestly been a blast watching Hikaru play such a big hand in this wave of popularity chess has experienced over the last few years, and I certainly hope he doesn't step away from competitive anytime soon. I actually completely forgot until we were working on this video that I spoke to both Hikaru and Magnus last year in Toronto. Sat down, interviewed them both, and yeah, as I was just talking about them both there, I was like, oh yeah, a really good chat with the 2 best chess players in the world. How does something like that even slip my mind? How do you forget that?